What if I told you? This thing can hit 300 FPS. What's good, everybody? My name is Valor. Welcome back to the channel once again, and before you get started, be sure to hit the like button, make sure you're subscribed, and as well, hit that little bell button and set it to all notifications so you never miss the next video from me. But yes, today we're taking a look at the Orion Blaster's Lynx, and specifically this is the V2 of the Lynx. Now, before we look at this one, we're going to take a look at my Atari one. I did it sort of in that nice red and white scheme that Atari usually has, as well as swapping out the original Lynx logo for the Lynx logo from the handheld system, and having, you know, the Japanese Atari logo on one side and the American one on the other. And yeah, this is the version 1. It's a generation 2.5 is what I call it, because it's a generation 2 body with generation 3 catch hardware inside of this piece here. And yeah, it is a bullpup blaster and has all you'd want really with it. Injection molded pistol grip for comfort, as well as this very flat trigger, which is a holdover from the Taurus, which is the sort of predecessor to this. This is the sort of evolution of the Taurus, because the Taurus was very finicky in terms of, you know, keeping the O-rings clean and all that, just due to how it worked. But yeah, I just wanted to show this thing off because I planned on doing a video on this way back when I made it, but the fact that, you know, things happened and all that, as well as me working on getting this thing built, kind of got in the way of that. This is an older version. This is the new hotness. So I'm gonna set this down. All right, this thing is my new favorite Springer platform currently. It is a bullpup Springer, loads from the back and everything, which is counterintuitive to how you think a Springer would work, as well as considering the plunger tube is right here in front of the magazine, yet the darts still come out this end right here. It's very odd, but also very, very cool. Unlike it's very counter to how the Talon Claw U and all that works. Well, the bullpup Talon Claw and Caliburn U work, where the plunger tube is back here, similar to the Chimera. But yes, just look at this thing. It is so svelte and nice, and the filaments I used to print this in are so pretty. The purple I used on this is a black amethyst from, I believe, Snow Labs. I could be wrong, it's Snow Labs or Printed Solid, one of them. And then the back there is a sort of generic red translucent PET G, which I think really pops and it catches the light really well and has a really nice contrast to this darker purple with the glitter in it. On the grip here, it is made of a nice carbon fiber PET G, just for a nice sort of texture and look, as well as the magazine well right here. Butt pad is TPU, so it's not the softest TPU, but it's still softer than just if I were to print in, like, you know, carbon fiber or whatever. And, you know, it's not gonna shatter if this thing gets dropped like this or whatever, so if you set it down, it's not gonna hurt or anything. And, you know, it's soft enough on the shoulder. And then the front grip here is one I found on Thingiverse. It's similar to the worker angled foregrip that came with the Titan and all that, but it's slightly shorter, which I find is quite nice. The only real gripe I have with this grip is the fact that the pattern here is a little bit aggressive on hands. I mean, I've worn it down a little bit but just by using it, but you definitely want to use gloves with this thing. Moving on to the trigger here, it is much nicer in the hand and everything. It's curved, everything, it's nice and snappy. Trigger guard is a little bit loose here, but that's just because it snaps into place. I could easily fix that by just, you know, putting a little bit of glue there, and there we go. But with it like this, I can, you know, make my own trigger guard that's a little more aggressive looking if I really wanted to, just to customize it even further. You've got thumb screws here on this part of the receiver type area, and that's just to help hold the barrel in place. You may notice that my barrel, if I pry it back here, is clear. That's because it is polycarbonate, rather than the 527 aluminum that is used with the Caliburn, Talon Claw, a lot of blasters. You could get a tighter barrel from like Monkey Mods or whatever, but I had this on hand for making some TKO knockouts, so yeah, I might as well use it. This orange bit here is the worker rifled scar, rifled muzzle thing. It's effectively just, you know, a rifled choke like what you'd see on a shotgun when you're using a slug. If you notice here, it's primed back, yet I can pull the trigger all I want. Pump's not sliding forward like any other standard Springer. That's because the catch actually moves instead of, you know, the plunger tube moving, the plunger moving back to go meet the catch. The catch actually goes back to meet the plunger. It has its own sort of air brake system, which I can show you. There you go. You can see there's a little protrusion right here with an O-ring right there, which whenever that kind of slams forward to here, it kind of creates a seal back in this area, creating a small like cushion. It's not the perfect seal, you have to really tweak it as well as, you know, keep it greased and all that, but that's easy to do. That is very cool. And you can remove the magazine without having the arm back. It uses talons only, which you can use the printed varieties. I just have my standard, you know, injection molded ones with a nice rubber bumper. Put it back there. And you have two ways of releasing the magazine. You have the standard release up here, which you can just hit with your forward finger, or similar to the Falcon by Untitled, there is a thumb release, so you can just drop it free. And the magazine well isn't the tightest, but that's good because that means you can just, you know, drop it, slap a new mag in, there you go. You notice I got the Turf Blaster Springs sticker on here. That's because this thing is running my white 18 kg spring that I got from Ragfest last October. It's crazy how it's already been about a year since Ragfest. Time flies, it really does. But anyway, this thing hits 300 FPS and exceeds that, which is awesome. And the prime isn't even that bad. There you go. 307. And I've gotten shots of like 315 feet per second. 287, that was a bit of a low shot. But that is just the power of the 18 kg, and you would think that it would lose a bit of power in this area right here, which mine is printed in resin, but it basically takes the air, brings it up at like a swoop, and then it has the chamber right here, which the pusher actually is a puller, or it pulls a dart into the sort of chamber and kind of nests the tip of the dart into the back of the barrel here. It's very much like an RCB in that way. But yeah, like, following that sort of same concept, I decided to use a much tighter barrel than I would normally use with something like a caliber and whatever that would really need like an O-ring seal and all that, because the O-ring's on the pusher back here. Now, say if I didn't want to run this at 300 FPS, which I definitely don't if I'm going to want to use this at competitive, which this thing is small. It's shorter than a stock long shot, you know, with the stock collapse and all that. Yeah, like it's tiny. You stick in a backpack. The easiest way to swap things out if you don't want to use that is pull a pin. The whole construction of this thing is done with two long flat bars that go through the whole thing, and the pump here with the catch is a separate piece. And there you go. You can reach in here, grab the spring out, or just, you know, re-lube it. And there you go. Easy as. There you go. Had a little trouble because the pusher slid back out of the way. You know, you had to pull the bar forward. But yeah, like this thing is great. This one hits about 230 FPS, which this one would be competitive legal if I wanted to run this, because it has a 10 kg longshot turf spring in there, nested inside of a stock turf longshot, stock, you know, longshot spring, which brings up to about 12 kgs of power, and this is just using the actual aluminum barrel that came with the kit, and it has the Flechette Spectre scar on the front, which gives it a nice orange tip. This one has a much smaller orange tip, which I could actually probably get even more power out of this if I wanted a longer barrel and, you know, have it sticking out more, but yeah, this thing already exceeds 300 FPS. I don't think I need any more. Moving on to the back here, you got your nice sling points there, one on each side, so you can, you know, put one sling on each side, and there you go. Or, you know, single point, stick it on your gear, quick, easy. And yeah, this thing is great. And another neat feature is it has slam fire. And one of the more fantastic things as of late is you can get these things from SilverFox Industries either as a completed blaster, a kit that you can build yourself and everything. It's not that hard because all the pieces are held together with just two bars and then these pins here on each end, or just the printed parts if you want to go about the route of getting a hardware kit from Orion Blaster themselves. I'll put the links down below to both their sites down below in the description. So if you want to, you know, support SilverFox or Orion Blasters, because if you support SilverFox, you also support Orion Blasters, because SilverFox gets its hardware from Orion Blasters and all that jazz. This thing is just fantastic in the way it works. But yeah, as ever, I will put links down below to both their sites, as well as links down to my Patreon and my Facebook page, all that jazz, Instagram, whatever, you won't follow me there. And as ever, as Valor, thanks for watching. I hit the tree basically every time.